guys. So I am attorney Savani DeBarros with the SL DeBarros Law Firm, and today we are going to be talking about with or without prejudice. This term comes into play when we are talking about dismissing cases. So let's get after it, and we are going to start. Okay, so most individuals who have any type of claim that is in court, especially if they're representing themselves, do not understand the difference of with or without prejudice. And so I felt that it was necessary to bring some form of a video to you all so that you can understand the difference between the two and why it's important that you understand what they are before you agree to either voluntarily dismiss your case with or without prejudice. Okay, so let's go ahead and start. Okay, so dismissal with prejudice or without prejudice. All right, so what's the difference and what should you use? So it depends. You also want to consider, have you settled or are you going to settle your case? And if you are the defendant, is there a valid defense claim that you think will possibly knock out, the case itself? Or if you are the plaintiff, do you think that the defense has a valid claim that maybe you don't want to create any issues with your reputation as plaintiff's counsel or with your firm if you don't dismiss the case? So these are all considerations that you should take, that you should think about when dismissing your case. Okay, so with or without, let's get into it. So with prejudice, so this is the not so happy dance, and you can see the pictures of course it's me, but two different types of personalities in these pictures, okay? So with prejudice, it's not a so happy dance, right? So yes, the matter is dismissed, but if you are the plaintiff, you may want to see if you can dismiss it without prejudice. And why is this important? So it's important because it means that you are barred or prohibited from filing this action again against the same party, even if there is new evidence that comes to light that would entitle you to additional damages or even maybe a larger settlement, okay? So maybe someone has provided information that was not so truthful to get you to settle at a lower rate than you would have had you had this information. All right, now there are other ways that you may possibly be able to refile a case, but as it just relates simply to the with or without prejudice provision, you would be barred from doing that, okay? So without prejudice, this is the happy dance because you, especially as plaintiff, you have the ability to refile the claim, to reinstate or file a new action. Okay, so although you may be dismissing the case, if you choose without prejudice, it does give you the right to either reinstate the case under the same name or possibly just refile the case at a later date. And as mentioned just for the without prejudice clause, the same thing goes with without prejudice, without the prejudice clause, because if you are trying to refile or reinstate the case more than a year in the same case, the court may bar you from filing it, although you dismissed it without prejudice. So you want to check with your current counsel to determine what your options are when it comes to potentially refiling a claim that has already been initiated in court. So reasons for with prejudice. So we talked about this a little bit before. You've settled a matter for a fair number that you would rather walk away instead of spending additional time on fees you may not receive. And this happens a lot. Sometimes plaintiffs believe that their case is worth way more than what it is. And, so if you go ahead and voluntarily dismiss with prejudice and you've already received a fair amount settlement, you really have to kind of do that balancing act to determine is this something I want to spend more time and money on to possibly end up walking away with the exact same amount? Okay. Reasons for without prejudice. So maybe you don't have enough evidence to really prosecute a claim at the time that you brought the case, but you do believe there's additional information out there that can help you later, and maybe also be able to help you in a defense if you're if you are the defendant, or maybe even help you get additional damages if you are the plaintiff. Sometimes for the plaintiff, the issue is finding witnesses. And so sometimes witnesses move and you can't locate them. So instead of keeping the matter on the docket for an insurmountable amount of time, you may ask the court to voluntarily dismiss without prejudice, find these individuals and do some more discovery before you reinstate the case. So another reason why you may want to dismiss without prejudice is you may want the ability to reinstate if the evidence does come to light where an opposing party has predicated a fraud upon the court or in settlement talks. So sometimes people may what we call misinterpret facts or misinterpret law to the court to get the outcome that they want. And if this is something that you found to have occurred, if you've dismissed the case without prejudice, you may be able to refile or reinstate this case to bring a claim for that. And especially if they used something or misrepresented something to get you to settle at a particular number and have hid assets or the true value of a certain thing, you may be able to reopen this case and let the court know that, hey, there needs to be maybe a reformation of the agreement or rescission of the initial agreement, of the settlement agreement, because there are violations of law that have been found. So what will you decide, with or without prejudice? So either way, every case is different. You should always make sure that you evaluate it on your own basis, your own case basis. So I just want you to remember, so do I want to be resued if this matter is dismissed without prejudice? So if you're the defendant, you want to be very adamant about what you would choose, what you will agree to in voluntarily dismissing a case. Do you want to stand the chance of potentially being resued? Okay. So that's without prejudice. If you are the plaintiff, you want to consider, do I want to dismiss with prejudice and lose my ability to reinstate this matter if new evidence surfaces? So best practices here is to always make sure that you consult with counsel to determine the right course of action based on your particular case evaluation, your particular needs. This is Attorney Savannah Burrows. Thank you so much for watching.